my name is Olga. I'm a social entrepreneur from Russia, from Moscow. And here in Arkansas, University of Arkansas, I'm studying community health promotion. It's a public health as a master's student. And also last year in 2019, I participated in Social Innovation Challenge. So yeah, and would be happy to share my project and also what I learned from this experience. So I was born in Moscow, in the capital of Russia, and 3 years ago, before I founded this project, people with disabilities, despite Russia being on top in Paralympic Games, people with disabilities still actually didn't have access to information what kind of sport clubs are available there in the city. So when I saw this problem, actually after visiting Paralympic Games in 2014, I saw that there is actually easy solution to this. You just collect all the information about existing sport clubs in one place and that's it. So I decided to do it by myself. I was a journalist this time and it didn't seem like something very complicated. So I started to reaching out to different sport clubs for people with disabilities and talking to them. This is how actually the project was born. So I think I would show them, oh my God, how to how to get out from the presentation. Okay, so yeah, I will show how it looks like now. It's actually translated to English, so it's in Russian. It's a website that works in Russia, in Moscow now. It's translated in English, maybe that's why sometimes there will be something weird, but still, so that it's easy to understand. So basically, yeah, as I said, I wanted to collect all the information about existing sport clubs for people with disabilities. And my friends helped me, just giving me as a present on my birthday, they gave me some money and gave me a contact number of a person who would help me to launch the project. So thanks to them, I could launch the website, and it looks very old-fashioned because it was launched like almost I was saying, put here this, put there this, and I'm not supposed to do this because I'm not a web designer, but I didn't have a lot of resources, and so just did what I could this time. And so this is the website. Basically, there are some piece of news we publish about sports for people with disabilities. There are also some stories. Some of them are from the US because I had several exchange programs in the US several years ago. Visited the marathon in New York where people with disabilities also participated, and so this was a lot of interesting things. But the main part is the database itself. So this is how it looks like. So basically, this is the map of Moscow, and all the numbers there, it's amount of let's say sport clubs in this specific place, because in one building there can be several clubs. And on the left side there are these locations themselves, and what is important, we put their filters. So we have types of disability we cover it's basically how usually disabilities presented in Paralympic Games. So these are hearing impairments, visual impairments, let's say physical disabilities, and mental disabilities. Then there is also you can search for using type of sports and also part of Moscow, which is translated as county, because Moscow is super big. So for some people, it's really important to find something which is close. And each location, let's say this one, each location has some photos. So we basically go visit location, create some kind of description what's happening there. There is also the schedule, type of sport, some information about the coach. And so we create this thing. The problem is that most of these locations, they do not really have any online presence. So we needed to, not to just find them in the internet, but we literally needed to go by ourselves to each location. And yeah, this is it. So this is how it's been working all this time. And for now, there are 100 locations in Moscow. And when I came here in Arkansas, the project continued working because I just had several girls who, as a freelancers, for a small amount of money, helped me to collect information about the locations. So they had, let's say, four clubs a month they needed to find and put in the database. So it worked before COVID because most of the clubs now closed, so we could not visit them. But this actually situation with COVID helped us to stop a little bit and try to think actually where are we going. And this is this was very important and very good time actually for us. And second thing, so when I came here, I started to see the same problem here because I was curious always about sports and sports for people with disabilities. I connected, thanks to Rogelio, actually, I connected to nonprofits and other organizations here that work with people with disabilities. And actually this was my project for Social Innovation Challenge. So I convey the customer discovery here about the same problem. If there is a problem of lack of information about the locations. And yes, in the US, there is no curated database as well, in general, in the country, in the state also, and here in this county also. So I decided to develop first of all, to talk to organizations and check how many locations are there, what type of sports, so just to get connected with the community. And I kind of confirmed the problem. Actually, there are not a lot of locations. I think in Northwest Arkansas, probably like 10. It's not a lot at all. So I decided to launch the first international chapter of the database. So for this, I needed a lot of things. First of all, this website does not allow me to publish any other locations except for Moscow. So now we're launching SameSport.org. You can see that this is .ru. I have already bought the domain .org, and we will launch a new website this fall, I hope. I have already seen the template, the first steps of a new website. So I hope this will be one SameSport project. And there will be, for now, chapter in Russia and chapter in the US and Arkansas. And I hope by the end of this year to put the information about those clubs that exist here, because as I said, it's not a lot. So this is what I've been doing actually for, Social Innovation Challenge. And I've got difficult times trying to build a social business model there. There are a lot of, looks like there are a lot of things to think about, but it was a really hard time to, especially presenting and pitching in front of the investors who are not social impact investors. So I heard a lot of, on the one hand, good things like questions, very tough questions, which made me work and think about a project as a kind of business project. So I heard the same tough questions as any other just project would hear, not social one. And at the same time, I was thinking that I still believe in my idea. And even though investors do not understand what I believe in, it doesn't mean that I will change my way, because I feel and I know that people with disabilities is a market. And this is the good thing, because we need to treat everyone equally. And if we don't realize that people with disabilities is a market, so we do not provide services, and this is a discrimination which exists, and this is the whole bunch of opportunities to improve the quality of life, to reduce stigma, and there are a lot of things. Yeah, so I can talk a lot, but I will try to stop soon. So what I was also say that working on the project, I saw that the problem is much more complicated. So it's not like I build a database and the problem is solved, people are going to clubs and everybody's happy. So it's a very complex problem. I've been also researching this problem in my college in health promotion. So at this point, I needed to stop and ask myself, what do I want? Because there are a lot of problems to solve. What do I want with this? And so my aim is not to increase the amount of people engaged in sports for people with disabilities. My aim is to reduce stigma in the society. My aim is to work with people without disabilities. Like I am, like 6 years ago at Paralympic Games, facing sports for people with disabilities, realized that actually this is the same sport, same emotions, same athletes, and just everything the same. So it helped me to see that like there is actually no gap between people, no matter how we look like, what it's like, everyone is different, and that's it. So disability is a type of diversity. It's like somebody has blonde hair, somebody is tall, somebody is short. It's just diversity, human diversity. So my aim is to find the way to connect people with and without disabilities together, just because I believe that connection is what makes people see each other, like just see each other, through all this, stigma and prejudice we have about people who don't know. And also, I believe in sports, because sports is, I don't know, I have a lot of friends from sports, because this is a place where you find people with the same interests. And this is the place where you have the same goals and you just enjoy. And as some of the people, including those with mental illnesses, I talked here in Arkansas, they said that sports is a language. So when you're playing sport, you don't need to have similar backgrounds, topics, or you don't really need to know a person, because doing sports together, playing together, you just know each other by this language. And so this is what I'm working on. And in Moscow, we're also now working on business model, which is not about this database, but a little bit with the same aim about inclusion and equality. But we're trying to build approach using coaches and instructors and trainers as the main point to connect people, because as we realized, people are going to people. People are not going to do some sports. They very often go to be with a coach that will care about them, that will help them to grow. So people stay with people, with coaches. And we want to collect database of good coaches, which work with everyone, no matter if you have disability or not. And we want to build this community of coaches, community of trainers, instructors, who will just be open to everyone, because there is no difference between sports. So this is it.
Olga, perfect. I think that, thank you very much for this. And I can feel your passion and I really appreciate it. I totally agree that sports is a way to connect people. And I understand the point and of your project, which is extremely important. So whenever you get a project, I think that having a really straight goal of what you're looking for is the one that is going to drive all of your actions. And I think that the goal that of your project of just being of just making sure of giving everybody the same opportunities, because if I go to Google and I just want to look for a club, so it's going to be easy for me to find it. But for people with disabilities, it's going to be really hard to find a club that is going to make sure that they're going to feel welcome and that they're going to be in a club that is going to be helping them. So thank you very much for that. I don't think that I have ever thought of that. And I think that that's a point of social innovations, making sure that you're looking in a way that looking towards something that people are not taking into consideration because they're not experiencing that problem. But you can definitely see it if you just make sure that you watch how the world is going around. Thank you very much for that, Olga. I think that that's amazing what you're doing, and it's incredible that you're doing it here in Arkansas too. Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions for you. And okay, so the first one is, how did you communicate about these websites to the people that had disabilities? Like how do you market these websites? How do you make sure that everybody knew, well, not everybody, but most of the people with disabilities in Russia, they knew about this website, and then they will take advantage of all of the information that is given it?
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting point, because so far this project has been living only because I supported with my own finances. So this is not a sustainable thing. So definitely, but this is how it was. So the reality was that I didn't really have neither team of people nor resources to promote it or actually develop or change or anything, because now in 3 years I have other things to change. That's why we're launching a new website. But the thing is that I never put money or anything, or even my personal effort, because I've been working always a full-time job. I didn't have a lot of time to just work on the project alone. And that is why I'm surprised, because it attracted attention by itself. So I have social media, we have Facebook, and we have also in Russia, we have kind of analogy of Facebook, but like Russian one, which was founded by the founder of Telegram, if you know this messenger. So he founded it in Russia, and then he founded Telegram. So I have the pages, I publish things, I have connections with other nonprofits. So I sometimes could say, hey, there is a very interesting club is going to open. Could you repost it so your clients would see it? So just because of my connections. It was not like a plan, marketing, PR that I was following, working. No, it was just like, okay, I think this organization would like it and I know them. So I would write them in Messenger and say, hey, do you want it? Oh yeah, sure, we'll publish it. And that's like step by step. We don't have a big audience, but still I see people, like it's growing. People just find it themselves because they search in Google, and this is where the traffic comes from. So they search they search for clubs and they find this project, very organic and just without any input actually. Yeah, so this is actually, yeah, this is it.
Perfect, perfect. That's very interesting. So at the end, because this was something that people were looking for, it was easy for it to just market itself. That's amazing. My other question, I have two other questions, if that's okay. My
Sure.
other question was, have you ever thought about expanding the project in a way that you're now creating this website that is having all of the information of clubs for people with disabilities in one spot? Have you ever thought about the fact that maybe this can also be an incentive to create more clubs for people with disabilities? Because then you can see that, okay, we don't have so many clubs for people with disabilities for basketball. Then maybe even your idea can be expanded into something of like creating this type of movement where we create more clubs for people with disabilities and then more opportunities for them. Have you ever thought about that? And yeah.
Yeah, there are interesting ways to grow, and they are also different, and maybe actually amount of opportunities even made me, it was even an obstacle for me to grow because I could not choose what to do. And I was like, oh, and here and there and this and that. So yeah, and basically we see two like big groups of expansion, right? So first is to provide more services for this specific population, and other one is to include, let's say, women in sports. It's another big topic because it's also the thing. Yeah, there is a lot of movements in this topic when women do not really have the same access to sports as men, especially in countries where there is a big gap between genders. And sports, for families with low income, for example, and there are a lot of types of things we can scale to, either horizontally or vertically. And there is the whole actually thing which is called sports for development and peace, is the whole movement. And here is sports for people with disabilities, for women, for migrants, for refugees, and all of that. So these are two different ways to grow. I think, yeah, there are a lot of opportunities. For now, we want to cover, first of all, the whole Russia, not only Moscow. And I want to do it as soon as possible, even before launching maybe international chapter. But it's just happened because I'm here, and where I am, it's easier for me to work where I'm located. So for us now, it's first of all launch the project like through all of the Russia, for all Russia, and also actually you point very good thing, and also to blur the line between sports for people with disabilities and sports for people without disabilities. So we want to market this platform when the website will be relaunched as an inclusive sports for everyone, and there will not be disability and type of disability, there will be diversity. And so we want to understand how we solving the problem of informational gap, how we are not increasing the problem of exclusion, because creating a website only for people with disabilities, it's not inclusion. So this was also the point to think about, and this is the main point to grow, because I want to doing the next step, I want to be sure I'm not I'm not increasing another problem.
Perfect. That sounds amazing, Olga. And thank you very much. And my last question that I think that students will find really beneficial is, what were the main limitations that you saw whenever you started this project? I know that you mentioned the funding, and maybe that you were alone as a team, but then how did you overcome these limitations, and then what were them?
Yeah, this is the most important, I think, people in all of this, in all the meaning, team, because I was alone, and sometimes you just need someone, when you cannot be always very passionate every day and working on this sometimes. And there were periods, they were like half a year when nothing happened. It was just the same project with like 30 maybe sections, like sport clubs or something. And there was no one to, you know, to motivate me, because when working with someone, you like exchange energy and you motivate each other. Now I have a partner, she's in Moscow, or she's in Russia. No, she's not in Moscow. She's in Russia, and this, it helps. Also, even before this, actually, thanks to Rahelo, in many cases, thanks, I mean, in general, thanks to Rahelo, this project, I saw that it's a project that is worth developing. Because before, and when I came here, I was not presenting myself as a social entrepreneur from Russia, founder of SameSport. No, I was just like, hey, I'm a PR and communication specialist. I've been working in NGOs, blah, blah, blah. But here, just talking to Rahelo, when I saw that there is the whole office developing social entrepreneurship, so I talked to him and actually asking how I can help with your projects, like maybe with social marketing, something like this. And he said, but you have yours. I was like, really? Is it enough? He said, of course, you've done this and this and this. So I will connect you with these people. You can do this, you can do lean canvas, this type of things. And I was working, this is how I started. And I was working like the social innovation challenge half of the year, thanks to Rahelo. Alone, again, it was challenging. There were people sometimes coming and going. So, but it's really hard to find a real teammate. But yeah, people are always challenged. Not only can be challenged, right? Not only the lack of your team, but also people who believe in you. Because in many cases in Moscow, I saw trying to working with our government, I saw a lot of misunderstanding and I didn't see a lot of support, even though I was thinking that I'm doing the job that they should do actually, but still. So when I think like Rahelo, who believed in me when I did not believe in myself, and who showed me that I can do and that I actually have done a lot. And he made me see my own project and he made me see myself and believe in myself. So this was also something without which I think project will not just live.
Olga, thank you so much. I truly believe that one of the most important things is that you have to believe in yourself and you have to believe in your idea and you have to believe that it's worthy of working on. And I know that sometimes that might be difficult. And I think that this is going to be very useful for students too, because they might just think that, oh, this idea is not worth it, or maybe I'm not going to make it, or I'm not, I'm not good enough for this. But then you can always do that.
Yeah.
You are definitely worth it. All of your ideas, if you are going to make a better world, that's going to be great. And then you just have to go forward with it and believe completely in yourself, because you're going to face challenges and there are going to be times where you're going to doubt yourself. But then those are the moments that are critical. And I think that you went over them amazingly. And thank you so much for